This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. 71,859. So is it hitting 72 here during this interview?
I hope so, brother. I hope I continue my run of good luck here for you.
You always do, bro. You know, we're 1,500 away from all-time high.
Wow.
73.3 is the all-time high for Bitcoin. So we're literally $1,500 away from the all-time high.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's great. That is absolutely awesome. So we'll see if we hit 72 during this interview. I would not be surprised since you're on. It usually ends up pumping. It's up 4.9% leading into this interview. So pressure's on. You got to come through now. Just like the Canes.
Yes.
Last week I expected them to win, but again, rivalry game and all of that. The progress I'm going to say is prior Canes teams would have lost a few of these games already. You would not be 8-0. So kudos to Manny. Kudos to Mario that he is getting the kind of players that he needs for his program right now. They're not where they need to be. We see it with the defense and all. I get all of that, dude. They still have a lot to go. But damn, dude, progress has been made.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing I took away from the FSU win is that they got back to being a team that could run the football and not have to rely on Cam Ward to do everything, right? And you saw shades of it at Louisville, especially late in the game, where Damian Martinez came in and he just started, running through the defense. I think in this game, Florida State came in with the ideal game plan of what you have to do to beat Miami, which is frustrate Cam Ward, bring pressure, and play zone, and don't let him go over the top. And I think ultimately FSU tried it. They basically said, "Go ahead, Miami, run the football on us," and that's what Miami did. They ran the ball down their throats, and again, that's kudos to Mario Cristobal for building a bigger, badder offensive and defensive line in the 3 years that he's been here. So to me, that's what carries over. You need a quarterback to win big, but you can win games like that against a rival and pretty much, control the game if you can run the football and stop the run, and that's what they did.
Yeah, and I always have this theory that whoever your coach is, wherever they came from, expect that part of your team to be, the strength of your team. If he's a defensive coach and he's your head coach, you'll probably have a great defense. If you're led by Andy Reid, you're going to have a great offense. If you're led by Mario Cristobal, I expect you, dude, to have a great offensive line because that's your forte, man. Yeah. You know what it takes what a good lineman is because you were a good lineman. So you know what it takes to be great at that position. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I do admire because he has come here and has built that up. And Mirabal, obviously, is probably one of your better assistants on this team right now.
Yeah, for sure. Valuable, a guy who knows how to develop linemen. And let's not forget, yes, Francis Marinoa is a 5-star, but a lot of these guys are like 3-star kids that they develop. And Inez Cooper is a 3-star kid that they develop. Matthew McCoy, your left guard, a 3-star kid. They weren't all like 5-star. Mario didn't just come in and start recruiting 5-stars left and right on the offensive and even the defensive lines. It's taken a little bit of time because Miami's been so bad at that position for so long that, kids need to see proof of concept. And so you develop the Inez Coopers of the world, the Matthew McCoys, you get this center in from Indiana, and you win. And look, they gave up a few sacks, but I think the majority of the sacks that have been given up this year, if we're being honest, have been Cam Ward trying to extend plays, right? And not just getting rid of the football. So I don't think necessarily the offensive line has been bad. I think last year's unit was a little bit better. But I think when push comes to shove, those guys can control the line of scrimmage in the run game. And we've yet to really see anybody just shut this team down when they want to run the football.
Well, doggy, we got ourselves a little fun game because now we get Manny
Yes.
Diaz up
Yes.
against Mario, and obviously Manny's going to be super pumped to try to win this game. This is, this is his bowl game pretty much. This will make the Duke season now if they can actually get this done. So, what are you seeing from Duke?
Well, super opportunistic defensive team, which is Manny's forte, right? He's a defensive coordinator. You talked about guys representing what their coach does. Duke is second in the country in turnovers forced this season. They forced 19 turnovers in their 8 games. Last game they had 6 against SMU and still lost because they couldn't protect a field goal block team. Jafari Harvey jumped over the line of scrimmage, former Hurricane, and blocked what would have been a game-winning 30-yard field goal. So, look, this Duke team is 6-2. They're well coached. Manny Diaz does a good job on the defensive side of the ball, but they do not have enough offensively to hang with Miami, which is why the line is 20 and a half points going into this game, because most people look at Miami and they say, well, number one offense in the country in terms of points per game, number one offense in terms of yards per play. But you are going against a Duke defense that has done a good job taking the ball away and keeping their teams in it. The difference is Duke really hasn't beaten a good team yet. Their losses are to SMU and Georgia Tech, who have winning records, obviously in the ACC, and their wins are over North Carolina, who's 4-4, and a bad FSU team like Miami just beat. Northwestern, UConn, who's a mid major, who's 5-3. So not really an impressive win yet, but I do think this will be a game that Manny Diaz tries his very best, whatever it is he has to do on defense, to keep this game as close as possible.
Yeah. Let's. Can they?
I think they can if Miami turns the ball over. I think if we see the Cam Ward that we saw at Cal, right, who decides I'm gonna just fling it and I don't care and I'm gonna make mistakes because I'm confident we're gonna win anyway, then I think Duke can definitely stay in the game. They've got a running back in Star Thomas who can run the football and make plays. Malik Murphy. If you look at some of his statistics, he's not a bad quarterback. He's a top 100 guy. I think he's 83rd in QBR, so it's like middle of the road. But he's what, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So it's not like he's terrible. He completes almost close to 60% of his attempts. So they have guys that can do something. I think this game is just going to be like the Florida State game. Does Miami show patience? Do they run the football? Duke's run defense is not very good. That's typical of Manny Diaz, right? We remember those days here at Miami when they got shredded on the ground because he wants to pressure the quarterback and create turnovers. So does Miami go out there and do the same thing? Cam Ward obviously wants to win the Heisman Trophy. He wants to put up numbers. Didn't throw a touchdown pass last week. Didn't throw any picks, but he wants to put up numbers. So we'll see how aggressive they are and having Cam rip the ball and just put up numbers.
Yeah, but it's not about Cam. It's really more about Mario. And Mario has no problem Cam not throwing a touchdown if you're dominating the game and you're
Right.
dominating on the ground. And I think, in these kind of situations, if you can dominate on the ground, you
Yeah.
do it. You
Yeah.
do it because that's how you control the football. You control the clock. You also there's less risk for turnover, and when Ward wants to throw, you're going to have a much more open field if you've got those two big mothers punishing the shit out of defenses, because that's the other thing. You have a 1-2 punch now that can literally punish defenses because those two
Yes.
run hard, bro.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I think and remember early on in the season, I kept telling you, Mark Fletcher, wait till Mark Fletcher gets healthy, and wait till Damian Martinez really settles in. And the last 2 weeks, Damian Martinez looks like the guy who was worth that whatever it was they paid him in NIL, brother. He looks like that guy, right? The 1,000-yard back that was running at Oregon State the last 2 years. So he's got two dudes, and I would even venture to say I like AJ Allen, the kid who comes
Oh
in
yeah,
the fourth quarter and
yeah.
provides that spark. It really does look a lot more like the old 2001 team in terms of putting up huge offensive numbers and being able to have various guys in the backfield run the football. So I think the only thing that's lacking is the big explosive, big play wide receiver. Look, Xavier Strepo's great, for what he does, but he's a slot guy. Yeah, I think we'll see what teams do with good cornerbacks and pressure and how they try to take away the big play from Miami going forward. Because FSU, I told you going into the game, they've got good corners and good safeties, and that's what we saw. We saw those guys pretty much hold the passing game in check.
Yeah, and that's fine. And you adjusted and dominated on the ground and took care of business on defense. I have no problem with the way you played. You adjusted and you did what you had to do. Injury wise, they came out of that game pretty clean, right? Overall, not going to be missing anybody seriously in this week, right?
No, Mario said yesterday that Wesley Basaint, which I think I told you right after the game on Saturday, that I thought he was fine. He came back in, if I'm not mistaken. So,
right. And
I think that was
the Brown kid,
Damari Brown.
Yeah, he hobbled off a little, but I think he came back too. So, right?
I'm trying to figure out which kid you're talking about. Not Damari Brown. Damari Brown hasn't played since the opener.
The receiver.
Oh, yeah, Sam Brown. Yes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything serious with either one of those guys. So they should be at full strength for this game in terms of everybody they've had the last several weeks.
So number 5, Miami, favored by 20. The over and under is 54.5.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to cover. I can see Duke keeping this close because Duke has not gotten blown out yet. They've kept every game close because of the turnovers. So I could see Miami making a mistake or two. I could see Manny Diaz keeping it within 20. Does that mean that we're sweating it out in the fourth quarter? Not necessarily. It just might be more of a 14-point, 17-point type win, 38-21, something of that nature, where Miami maybe in the second half does more of what we say, run the football down Duke's throat and beat them. I know Mario definitely would love to pound them the same way he wanted to do that to FSU last week. But, again, I think good defensive coaches like Manny Diaz are going to make as many adjustments as they can to contain this offense from exploding and not let Cam Ward beat them. And Duke's secondary's done a decent job to this point, brother. I mean, they are 8th in the country in pass efficiency defense. They're only, 30th in completion percentage, only 7 touchdowns allowed, 9 interceptions. So again, opportunistic defense. I think Manny Diaz finds a way to keep it respectable. So I would not take the over on the 20, but I would take the over on the points because Miami can score, and I think they will. They have yet to score under 38. I think Duke will score some points as well.
I like what you're saying a lot. And when I'm thinking about it, the offensive line for Miami is good, but it's accessible at times when you blitz it.
Yeah.
When you bum rush it, sometimes there's some leakage that happens with that offensive line, and it's happened throughout the year. And I think that Manny Diaz is going to see that on tape, and because he's such a crafty blitzer, I agree with you. I think he's going to surprise Miami at times, and I think Cam Ward will be on the floor a couple of times because Manny will figure out a couple of ways to get to Cam and kind of disrupt him a little bit. So yeah, I certainly don't want to lay the 20 points. It's too much. Duke has played well enough that you're right. They keep things close. So yeah.
Yeah, I would say Miami wins by double digits, but I don't know if it gets to 20. It might be right underneath that. Like I said, 14-17 seems like a more reasonable final score.
Yeah, I can see that, and I'm actually not touching this game. Jesus, the money line is minus 1350.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way that maybe the over because Miami's defense isn't that good. And you can score on it. The over might be about the only play there. That's about it. But, yeah, I'm definitely not laying the points there. All right, what do you got going on in the Athletics so folks can check you out?
Yeah, man, just came out with a couple of articles yesterday, including a column on Miami and Mario, and just basically trying to make the point that, while Miami fans certainly want to celebrate, hey, the U is back, right? They're 8-0 and ranked 5th in the country. I think we need to look at Florida State as the perfect example, right, of why you don't celebrate being back, so to speak, because you got to build a sustainable winner, and that's really what it's all about. And Mario is here to build a sustainable winner, not a one-shot trick pony like Florida State was last year, where they win the conference and they fall apart and go 1-7 the following year. So,
but Manny, they haven't they're not back. They haven't built it yet.
No.
That defense tells you they're not back yet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're back when they're dominating offensively and defensively, because we know right now, even though there aren't a ton of real dominant teams in college football, I still don't think they'll do well against Georgia, because I think Georgia will beat them up at times. So they're not there yet. They're not anybody that says Miami's back, come on, dude, they're not back yet. They're better now. They're finally they're making progress, like what we said at the beginning of the interview. They're not back yet. That's silly talk if any fan is going there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, listen, Mario took great pride in pounding his fist in the post-game press conference to say, hey, we're the best team in the state. But I don't know that necessarily means anything with how bad this state is, Big O.
Right. Big deal. That doesn't mean shit. Right. That's like the late great Mad Dog. I'll steal your line. That's like being the valedictorian of summer school. You know, that's
yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's, it just, wow. You're the best in the state. So what? Football played in the state right now is really, really bad, and your football is not great. So come on, man. You're not the old Canes yet. Let's hope you'll get there, but not yet. But they're making progress, which is what we have to be happy about. It's what we said at the beginning. Normally, the teams of the last 10, 15 years would not be 8-0 right now. So you have to be super happy with that. That's it. That's all.
And just keep recruiting well, just keep building depth, and hopefully the next great quarterback, whoever it is, whoever he turns out to be, right? We didn't know who Cam Ward was this time last year, unless you were staying up for Pac-12 after dark. Whoever the next great quarterback is decides to come to Miami, or maybe Emory Williams turns into that guy, but we won't know that until the offseason, brother.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the Malachi Crunch is back.
Malachi Crunch.
Yeah, the receiver. Malachi, or whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, Malachi, yes, the American Heritage kid, yes.
I just wanted to mix in the Happy Days, the Malachi Crunch, and all that. Just the whining Malachi is back. Is he really a Mario guy?
Yeah, it's not often that Miami takes back guys who decommit. I think part of this is the kid was a 2026 recruit. Okay, he was supposed to be in the 2026 class. He reclassified to 25, which means he's going to graduate early. And I think who knows who was getting in his head and telling him, hey man, you got to open things back up and visit other schools. I know he went to Alabama right before he decommitted from Miami, but look, the kid realizes Alabama probably doesn't want me. Let me go to the school that does and has maintained a relationship with me and stop being silly. And so it happens. Miami has guys on this roster that were committed and then dropped out of the class and then got back in. So it's just the way things operate now. Silly season.
Yeah, no, because we're at 71,900 here, and I'm thinking, oh, this son of a bitch is going to do it again. It's we're gonna hit 72 during your interview. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's impressive right there. Almost.
We were getting there. But it's all right.
So it looks like we're about to hit it, man. We're about to hit it. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro, and make sure you subscribe to The Athletic and follow him every single day. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. We will catch up Friday. I can't do postgame. That's right. I can't do postgame because I am traveling to Buffalo. So
okay. Well, safe travels. Safe travel. We'll talk Friday, though.
Yes, we'll talk on Friday. We'll do our big cheese, and we'll do our Caneswear report, my friend. Appreciate you.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Thank you. Don't forget, Big O10 is your key to save 10% off there at Caneswear. By the way, they have a sale on InterMiami gear, 30% off. And if you use my code, Big O10, then that's 10 more. That's 40% off. There you go. And if you order online, you will get free shipping over $99. I mean, many ways to save. They got anything and everything practically with a Canes logo. They got Dolphins gear. They got Heat gear. They got Panthers gear. They got it all for you there at Caneswear. And use our code BIG-O10. You will get 10% off.